Good morning guys from Murmansk, 2 degrees above the Arctic Circle. What a night yesterday was, catching the northern lights for the first time in my life. But it's now time to go out and explore and see how it is like for people here in Murmansk living at such a northern latitude. Let's go. Okay, so it's 11 o'clock. I just got out of the apartment and still this is what you can see. No daylight almost. I guess this is why they call it a polar night. Wow. I didn't have time to get a proper breakfast, so I'm resorting to this. Ice cream. Chocolate ice cream. It's like -10. As we progress further into the day, it's not like it's getting much lighter, as you can see. Also, the cloud cover definitely doesn't help. The city of Murmansk lies 2 degrees above the Arctic Circle, and it sees no sun at all for around 40 days each winter. I think the last sunset was on the 4th of December, and the first sunrise is going to take place on the 10th of January. The people, the locals, the residents of Murmansk are going to meet the sun, the first sunrise of the year, with great celebrations, and they do so every year. Tvaya Italia. You see, Italian restaurants are popular everywhere, even in the far north.
Привет, Мурманску.
А вы из Мурманска?
Где пока? Да.
Как жить здесь, в Мурманске?
Пойдет.
Пойдет?
Вообще нормально.
Хорошо.
Можно жить, но Путин заворачивает ворота. Молодец. От души.
Давай, мой друг, до свидания.
Спасибо. Молодчак.
By the way, since I'm here in the main square of Murmansk, I'd like to take the chance to tell you about a few cool, interesting facts about this city. You see that? That's a trolley bus. And indeed, Murmansk has the northernmost trolley bus system in the entire world. And there's also one other thing. Over there in the distance, there is something that highly interests me. This is the northernmost McDonald's in the entire world. Can you imagine? This right here. There are like 5 or 6 McDonald's all around Murmansk, and this is the northernmost one. So yeah. The title used to belong to the McDonald's of Rovaniemi in Finland up until 2014, but then eventually McDonald's was installed in the city of Murmansk, and this is what you can find here, the northernmost McDonald's on the planet. I'd say it's high time for me to go and check out the northernmost McDonald's in the world. Okay, so I am now having lunch at the northernmost McDonald's in the world. I got myself some Coke, a McChicken, and some fries. All of this for 150 rubles if you're curious about the price, which amounts to around £1.50 probably. Visiting Murmansk has been a dream of mine for like so long. It has been blowing my mind like for the better part of my life, how it is possible that civilization was established here when it's so cold in a part of the world which is so remote. But still, you see this city and it's almost like any other Russian city, or rather like any other city in the post-Soviet world. Like, for the most part, it looks exactly the same. It's just that there is an insane amount of snow and ice, and of course the polar night is now midday. And just for confirmation that Murmansk for the most part looks like any other Russian city, look! The statue of Vladimir Lenin, Lenin Square. This is Lenin Avenue, this is Lenin Square, and this is the statue of Vladimir Lenin. You can find at least one in any Russian city. I believe there are like 4 or 5 here in Murmansk. This is the biggest one, and yeah. you might be led to believe that this is the northernmost Lenin statue in the world. After all, you just saw the northernmost trolley bus network in the world, you just saw the northernmost McDonald's here in Murmansk, but this is actually not the northernmost Lenin statue in the world, and that is because there is a small Lenin bust in the Svalbard Islands. Of course, you know that the Svalbard Islands belong to Norway, but there is a small post which was at the time administered by the Soviet Union, and that's how the small Lenin statue in the Svalbard was brought there. Of course, it's way more northern than Murmansk, and that's how you ended up with the northernmost Lenin statue in the world. The cool thing about visiting Murmansk is that it's nice to visit it every season of the year. It's cool to come here during the winter because although you see you have the polar night, it's midday and you see how there is almost no daylight, but you have high chances of seeing the northern lights, of course, like we did yesterday. And you can also witness like snowy landscapes and the snowy tundra, the white tundra outside of Murmansk, which is really cool. But if you come during the summer, on the other hand, you have quite the opposite. You don't have the polar night, but you have the sun, which doesn't set at all for like 40 days straight, from the end of May until the beginning of July. Из Узбекистана? А как вы в Мурманске, так на севере?
Здесь мне нравится нормально.
Да? Просто мало солнца здесь, да?
Да.
Мало света. А как вы поживаете?
Здесь друзья есть много.
Да?
Да.
Нет солнца, но есть друзья.
Это
что
тоже
важно.
людей хорошим.
Да, понятно.
Нормально.
Понятно. Но по всей России я считаю, что люди добрые и милые.
Узбекистан вообще.
А мне интересно, почему вы решили Мурманск, а не Москву, например? Друзья здесь были?
Тоже Москва есть. Здесь это хорошим милиционером, гаишником.
Ага.
Вообще отлично, нормально. Мне нравится.
Ага.
Потому что это нарушений не пускаем вообще. Нарушений нету, вообще хорошим. Нарушение есть, раз протокол. Честность хорошим здесь.
Да, заметили.
Лишней проблемы нету. Вы аккуратны, никого нету, у тебя туда-сюда лишний разговор нету. Москва, Питер, постой, деньги давай.
Ага.
Я тоже черный сразу, постой, говорю, сразу.
А сколько лет вы живете здесь, в Мурманске?
Я?
Да.
1 год.
А, только год?
Да.
А, понятно.
Уже все, это марте, по-моему, я туда-обратно в Узбекистан.
А, понятно. Я тоже думаю, как... Я турист здесь, и мне очень нравится Мурманск, потому что все это экзотически для меня, понимаете? Но жить здесь мало солнца, как жить долго здесь, я не думаю, что я мог бы. Просто...
Витамин мало здесь.
Да, понятно. Well, I believe I need to buy myself a souvenir, otherwise no one's going to believe the fact that I came to Murmansk. I just found what I need. Now I have to admit it's gotten a tad bit lighter, and I was going to say that was because the sun came out, but of course that would be untrue because the sun is still very much below the horizon, and it will stay that way for another few days until the 10th of January, when the people in Murmansk will be able to see the first sunrise of the year. But still, you can see the cloud cover has disappeared, so at least people here, we can enjoy some blue sky with some pink color over there in the distance. I am now crossing this railway bridge right here because I was in the city, which is where I'm coming from now, and I have to cross the station and the railway platforms in order to get to something which is probably the major landmark of Murmansk, and I'll show it to you in a minute. Look at these freight trains traveling regularly to transport freight from Murmansk to St. Petersburg, Moscow. And why not? Maybe the Russian Far East even, Vladivostok, Chukotka, Khabarovsk on the Pacific Ocean. That's just how freaking massive this country, Russia, is. Just imagine. Well, I'm gonna tell you what it is anyway, because there's still a few minutes to go until I reach the only nuclear-powered icebreaker in the world. It is after the name of Lenin, and it is this Lenin icebreaker. That's what it's called, that you can see in Murmansk, and is one of the main landmarks of the city. It's actually, wait a minute, stay tuned, because it's this one. You can see the Lenin icebreaker became some sort of a tourist attraction. You can see a decent amount of people here, and the reason why it is stationed right here in Murmansk is because the whole area has been militarized for the better part of its history. The reason why Russia and the Soviet Union put great effort into trying to have people move and colonize the whole region is because they wanted to militarize it and pretty much take control of the Barents Sea and all these strategic points, of course, on the Arctic Ocean. And that's why you see the Lenin icebreaker here. And on that note, some 10 or 15 kilometers north of Murmansk towards the Barents Sea on the Kola Bay, you have Severomorsk, which is a closed city. It was at the times of the Soviet Union a closed city, and it still is nowadays because it's the official base of the Russian Northern Fleet. No foreigners are allowed there, and even Russian citizens, if they want to get into Severomorsk, they cannot do so unless they get a permit with an invitation from somebody living in Severomorsk. Здравствуйте. Okay, I just said bye to the Lenin icebreaker, and now I just jumped on a taxi because I want to go I'd say 20 minutes out of the city. There's this monument which is called Alyosha, and it's probably the main landmark of Murmansk, even more so than the Lenin icebreaker. This is one other thing that I've dreamt of visiting and seeing for so many years, so definitely looking forward to that. Murmansk is a Gorod Geroi, a city hero, one of the 12 Soviet cities that played a great role in defending the territory of the Soviet Union from the invasion of Nazi Germany. And this monument, Alyosha, is dedicated to the Zashitkam Sovietskого Zapolyarya, 1941-1945, to the defense of the territory of the Arctic Circle, of the Soviet Arctic Circle. You see the eternal fire, which you see very often near monuments to the defense of the Soviet Union during the Second World War. And here it says Неизвестный защитник Советского Заполярья, to the unnamed, unknown soldier, defender of the Soviet Arctic. But it does have a name. Its name is Alyosha, and this is of course this is supposed to represent one of the soldiers who fought so hard over this bay right here, the Kola Bay here in Murmansk, who fought so hard to defend this territory from the invasion of foreign forces and armies from Norway, basically from the Arctic Sea. And imagine that this is the second tallest statue in the whole of Russia, second only to the Motherland statue in Volgograd. Look at this, look at the amazing view over the Kola Bay. A few tens of kilometers and this river will protrude into the waters of the Barents Sea in Teribierka, the northernmost village. here in the European part of Russia. Wow, look at this! Just look at this! Look at the railway station over there in the distance. You can also see the Lenin icebreaker where we were at a couple of hours ago. But look at this, the king of the Arctic, the capital of the Arctic, Murmansk. Just 300,000 people. How can 300,000 people live here regularly? Wow, you can see the sun below the horizon giving out some light behind the hills and the mountains surrounding Murmansk. And the very same mountains that are scattered all around and all over the region of Murmansk. So that was a nice walk around Murmansk. I'm just so happy that after so much time I finally managed to visit this part of the world. Just insane. I'm here with Alyosha at a random restaurant in the center of Murmansk. We're catching up with food. And yeah, it looks fine, although there's quite a decent amount of people because it's the 7th of January today, so it's the Orthodox Christmas. But anyway, the only complaint that I have in this restaurant is that it's a bit dark, but I mean, like it's the polar night out there, so it makes sense that it's dark also inside buildings.